Hello, welcome to Sex Ed for You, where,
We're rusty. This is when 2 weeks happens. Okay. Hi, everyone. I am Lauren, and this is the Sex Ed for You podcast, where research meets reality.
This is the podcast for people who want to date and have great sex that is safe, fun, and enjoyable.
We empower our listeners to make informed decisions that lead to values-based living. Again, I am Lauren, a Certified Holistic Sexuality Educator.
And I'm Holland, and I just work here. Just kidding. I'm the Chief Culture and Content Coordinator, and I put together this podcast for you guys.
Mm-hmm. The fact that you're seeing it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's her responsibility.
Yep, it'll be out tomorrow.
Sorry, I interrupted you. What are we talking
okay.
about today?
I was just saying we're going to talk about our values today, which is really exciting because we literally just said that like 3 seconds ago. That values-based living is so important to us.
It truly is. And so I wanted to talk about this for 2 reasons. One, we're in the middle or at the end of our annual retreat, our annual work retreat, which this year looked a lot less retreat, a lot more work. We'll get to that part. But then also you just published a new blog that has a lot to do with values. And I think there is a common misconception amongst those inside of faith-based spaces that those who have departed from faith-based spaces do not live by an ethic or ascribe to any values of their own. And no, we work really hard to align our choices with our values. And that is important for me, not only as a human being, but also as a business owner, like very much. And so before you even found us, this was a practice that I started in this very room. I spread so many things out and spent days and days and days thinking about what I wanted this business to stand for, because I think and truly believe, let me rephrase, I know that we are drawn to businesses, people who we jive with, who we say, yeah, okay, yes, that's what I'm looking for. And I believe that our whys are really important and that the values behind the work that we do are important, and that I am not for everyone. You are not for everyone. This business is not for everyone. And so as a personal practice and as a business practice, I think values are really important. And it just so happened to be that those 2 things had bubbled up to the surface again.
Absolutely.
So we thought, let's talk about this.
Let's talk about it.
Can you give us a little recap of your blog post and why people should click below and go read and share?
Yeah, so I talked about on this specific blog post kind of my journey from faith to values-based living that is based on my own, just based on me. It was a journey that has been very long. It's, I think, as I wrote it, I realized this journey is longer than I even ever thought. Because for a very long time, for most of my childhood, I was like asking questions that I think were not encouraged to ask. But I would go talk to my pastor. I remember literally running up to him and saying like, so where are dinosaurs in the Bible? How do those coincide? Where were they? Where were they on the earth when Eden was happening, the Garden of Eden? Because theoretically, those are around the same time period, and I don't understand why they're not mentioned in the Bible. Like, who did not want to talk about the pterodactyls? Because that's really rude. So the journal article kind of takes you from my thought process of, okay, trying to align my values with this thing that I've been told to align my values with, to now where I've decided to align my values with what I believe and what I think life is about. And that journey was really beautiful for me. And I love it because I walk through the worksheet that we have, and I've done it a million times because I love to redo it. Because every single time new words pop out to me.
Yes.
And it never fails to shock me that when I look at it, I'm like, oh, well, of course it's this one. Like my body is just so like, well, duh. And the first time I remember when you had me do it as I came on as an intern, I was doing it and I was like, who doesn't choose these? Like how silly that she's having me do this. Is she not having the exact same values as I am? And then as I got deeper into the worksheet, I was like, oh, no, this is very much me. Yeah. And it was so interesting because you have it whittled down. And so it's interesting as you get closer and closer to the end, you really have to like argue with yourself. Do like, which one is it? because you love all of them. By the time you get to 5, you get to 3, you're like, I love them all. They're all me. But then you're having to prioritize your own values. And that's what I think is so important about this practice. So if you would like to learn how to walk through our values worksheet, you can go look at our blog. It is in the link below. And yeah, it was a really fun piece for me to write. It's pretty short. It's about a 5-minute read. So it'll be easy for y'all to walk through.
You know, I do this worksheet, obviously, with lots of clients. And if you want to work with somebody through this, you can go to sexedforyou.com/free consult and request a little consult of your own. We can talk about it. But when I work through it with clients, they struggle just like you. They say the same things. Well, of course it is, right? And I think for so many of us along the way, we began to equate values and morals. And if we're not careful, things will become so overwhelming, right? We'll start to do this thing known as splitting, which is like, well, I can't. Well, fuck it all, right? Like, well, I can't possibly live like that. And I think there is something so clarifying to whittle down to these guideposts, these true norths, there's so many different terms that can lead us for a season. Like Helen said, it is so fun to redo these often. And as a business, we like to do them every year so that we can see, what truly do we stand on now? What is truly important? I've had clients who've picked 10, 5, 1, and then 6 months later or 6 sessions later, been like, you know what? Those are so much a part of me. I want to actually choose some that are more aspirational. Yes, those are important to me. But what I found is when I die and my eulogy is being spoken, I want people to say that I am fill in the blank. Because some of the questions we ask and you say in your blog post are, how do you want friends to leave these situations with you? How do you want to be remembered? What draws you to other people? This list is only, I don't know, like 60 words, 70, 80. 60, and 70. You can make up your own. It's not every word in the world. It's just start to get your brain like humming. And yet, if we tried to, at all times, embody all 60 of those, we'd be exhausted. It's just too much for our simple human brains. And so it's a really good practice. It's really fun to do with a partner.
Yes.
Like, so fun, y'all.
Yes.
To come up with some partner values. I suggest it for families to do it. It's a fun exercise to say, where do we overlap? Where do we not overlap? Where can I lean more on you? With partners, I'll have them choose 10, choose 5, and then choose a partner top 5 so that there's an extra exercise of collaboration.
Right.
Which is hard.
If you actually want to look at parental and family values, we have a Sex Ed Prep for Parents class that is on our website, and it is not only incredible, but it is informational, it is comprehensive, and it will guide you into your first steps of sex positive parenting, and it's really beautiful, and this is part of it. There's one tailored specifically to parenting, so that can be really cool for y'all. Just wanted to mention that. But I did do this with a new partner, which was really fun because it was like as we were deciding whether or not we wanted to date. And
why did you do this?
Because
when?
Oh, before I left for home, probably like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Fun. Okay.
And because I was asking hard questions and I kept mentioning like my values, and he was like, well, what are your, how did you come to that? And I was like, great question. I'm so glad you asked.
I have a worksheet.
I pulled up the worksheet in the Sonic
and
drive-in.
Then you pushed up your glasses.
Yes.
And said, welcome to my nerddom.
Welcome to my office.
You have found.
Yes. And it was so interesting because he chose values I've never seen anybody choose. Nobody that I've talked to about it. And I was like, oh my God, the beauty of what is so important to someone else.
Yes.
Rather me. Because he chose like excellence, success, things like that. Whereas I'm choosing like honesty, authenticity, and more like creative, like floofy things. And he was very much like, oh, like this.
Yes.
And it was so beautiful to see, like, it literally clicked something in my brain, like, oh, I just need to, like, some of the things that we'd been miscommunicating on. I was like, oh, I can just communicate these things differently because your values are differently. You see things differently. it literally, like, it just like something clicked in place, like a last puzzle piece. It was beautiful.
I love that you brought that up, because to celebrate the difference in another is to heal the world. We all don't need to have the same values. That would make the world such a boring place. We need Holland to value authenticity and this other human to value excellence. I did this with a client the other day. Shout out if you listen. And one of their values was excellence. And I said, that's so beautiful. You know, that's not one of mine. And they were like, what are you talking about? Everything. This is a little humble brag. Everything that Sex Ed for You does is excellent. I would not say that, by the way. And I said, that's so beautiful. And that brings up another point, right? That we view things through the lens of our values. And so just really neat. And then I went on to share like how excellence can't be a value of mine, because then it feels like criticism, and then it feels like the voice of my mother in my head, and that's not. And courage is, and quality, and these types of things, they are. Kind of like bravery and expansion and growth and all of these types of things are. And that will feel excellent to someone. Great. It's not one of mine. It's
just not how we describe it.
No.
It's not how we view it.
No.
It's different worldviews, it's perspectives. It's what we talk about every time.
And then so a fun follow-up question, if you guys do the worksheet, is tell me about that word. Because then the client and I spent a long time kind of unpacking the word excellence. And in my mind, it means perfection.
Same.
Not in this client. This client went on to describe the spirit of a musical piece that moves them to tears because of the precision of a 16th note hit at just the right, just the right time. And that is excellence. And it takes their breath away because it's excellent. And I was like, oh, well, I'm in love. That's amazing. I never would have described excellence that way. And keep it. Like, don't change your values for another. Now, it can be fun with a partner to talk about, oh my goodness, I think actually we mean a similar thing. When you say this and I say this, actually, can we choose this word? It just becomes really, really fun.
It does. And it really helps you get to know kind of the inner workings of another person's mind, honestly, which is not as creepy as it sounds. It's more so just, it's incredible to be able to understand someone's perspective, especially someone you're in partnership with, because then you are able to communicate more effectively. You are able to see their point of view on arguments better, or if you have disagreements regarding, I don't know, politics or the way your child is being raised or your religion, you're more capable of seeing their side of the story than you were if you were just seeing things through your point of view.
I was just thinking too, because you mentioned doing it as a family, and I've done it with my now 13-year-old, and their chosen values always shock me because they are built so differently than I am. And every single time trust comes to the top. And I find it so interesting because trust never ends up on mine. I think I am a naturally trusting person. They are not a naturally trusting person. Someone must earn their trust, and it is sacred once they have it. You and I were saying earlier, I was talking about somebody and I said, yeah, the 13-year-old loves them. And you were like, wow. I mean, right? Like that is like hard work.
Yes, it means a lot when they trust a person.
It is beautiful. And I wish my parents had done things like this with me because I remember them being fearful about things and me thinking it would never even occur to me to do that. And what I didn't have words to say was, that goes against my ethic. That goes against my values, right? Like I wouldn't do that.
Right.
Like I literally I wouldn't even have the motivation to do that. And I think what's different is because I had a different value system, like an internal value system, which is kind of sums up your blog post. And I really encourage others to go and read it because it is a beautiful look at the inner workings of Holland's mind, A, but B, how looking outside of self for the guidance isn't always a very lovely option.
Right.
It can be great, it has given many people a great guiding path. And to tell someone that without that, they are unable to. They are not able to make a decisive decision for themselves. Does us a disservice. Our intuition is very important. And I'd argue that all of this trust on the value system of a text that was written a really long time ago doesn't keep consent top of mind, doesn't keep power dynamics and hierarchies and lots of other things at the foreground where it should be.
I just think it's so interesting for me to look back on my own values if I had known to do these, or if I had even considered the possibility, because I do remember so clearly thinking that people who were not Christians were just willy-nilly crazy pants. Like, they were just running around doing whatever the hell they wanted. They were having sex all the time. They were drinking alcohol like nobody's business. They were probably worshiping the devil and saying hello to him every morning and every night. They were probably doing like seances. Like, this is literally, as a 17-year-old person, I thought that was what not being a Christian was. And so to come full circle and be essentially the object of all my 17-year-old fears is probably the coolest thing ever, because I do work for a sexuality company and I do a little bit of woo-woo, but I'm not worshiping the devil. I'm not having, casual sex all the time.
Morning, noon, and night. Different sex partners.
I'm not crazy. I'm not off the walls. In fact, I would argue that I am much more moral than I have ever been, because I know what my values are.
Right.
And it just blows my mind, because that little 17-year-old is still in there somewhere. And sometimes she's like, who are you? And it's so fun to be able to turn back on her and say, this is who I am. And I'm so proud of her. And you would be so proud of her. And it's incredible to be able to see that full circle moment.
No, I laugh all the time about my sweet, precious husband who, never doesn't carry any of the baggage that I carry regarding all of this. And I tease that he's the most Christian non-Christian I've ever met. And I would often ask him earlier on in relationships, like, why do you do that? And he'd be like, because it's the right thing to do. Like, what are you talking about? Wow. And I was like, this idea that people can make true decisions, right, based upon their own moral compasses, their own values, the theme of today, is really beautiful and really yucky that from in different faith histories that Holland and I came from, that we put ourselves up on these pedestals and look down our noses upon those who are not able. No, I mean, I tell clients all the time that kink and BDSM communities bring us some of the most beautiful consensual terminology, practices on yes, no, maybe. And from my vantage point, back in Christendom, I would have thought that that was like the pit of hell. And within churches, we all know, daily, we are hearing of new rape allegations. And it's not the pit of hell. It's really not. And in fact, if you don't know your boundaries and your limits and your values and your needs and your wants and your desires and your yes, no, and maybes, you're not going to be allowed in such a place. They'd be like, get on out. Go do some work first. Because you have potential to be hurt here.
Yes. And potential to hurt others.
Yeah. And that's not okay.
Yeah.
Step aside. How beautiful.
Come when you're ready.
But speaking of that, you wrote this beautiful piece. It aligned with our work retreat where we wanted to look at values. And so I'd love to go through some of the values and what we do from our values, and it does this on the worksheet, I think, maybe not, is use our values to form a mission statement.
Yes, it does.
And the mission statement base that I work with comes from Simon Sinek's book. Happens to be on the bookshelf behind me. Find your why. You can click in the links below. And I really believe that organizations that understand, businesses that understand their why function better. So the fill in the blank goes like this. Sex Ed for You is committed to fill in the blank so that fill in the blank. The way I run it with my clients is slightly different than Simon's, and that is that the first fill in the blank is us-centered. Because I believe that work should provide us with joyful things. We should like this work. Yeah. We invest a lot of time into it. Then I believe from a work standpoint that the second fill in the blank should be others focused. This is a service-based organization. We long to provide you with a service. When I write this with folks to make a sexual mission statement, I say the same thing, right? Lauren's personal and partnered sexual experiences provide her with fill in the blank so that fill in the blank, because World Health Organization says that sexual health is fundamental to the well-being of individuals, families, and communities. I believe there's something to that. And that a well-sexed human, however that might be, who knows their body, who knows their wants and desires, is more full within themselves. And I believe it starts to splash over onto everything around us. And I don't think that our sex should just satisfy us. I think it should make us more grounded, values-aligned human beings that our community should benefit. Call us crazy. That's where we stand because I think it's true. So that's how we run values and mission statements here. Do you want to read our mission statement from last year? Because this is what we were seeking to possibly do better than. And we didn't even read it before we did the work, right?
I didn't even look at it.
Yeah. So this is what we didn't read. But
It's also how we came up with our podcast mission statement.
Yeah, we did the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we like this technique. It's simple.
We really do.
Maybe someday we'll change it. I don't think so.
I like it. So our original mission statement that was established in August of 2023. Sex Ed for You is committed to courageous flourishing so that our greater community is transformed through creative, consistent, and quality education.
That's good.
Concise. She's got her descriptive words. The values, if you didn't pick them out, are transformed, which we took from transformation.
Courage.
Yes, courage, which is at the very beginning, flourishing, creative, consistent, and quality. So that's our 6 values that we had in these. And we kind of finagled the mission statement to be able to encompass everything that we wanted it to deliver. Because it's not just what we are like delivering materially. It's how we conduct ourselves. It's what we consider when we're buying software. It's what we consider when we are having meetings, when we're talking about payments that haven't been made by clients.
Yes.
It's what we talk. It is embedded in the DNA of this company. It is everything all at once.
Yeah. It's not a mission statement like we give you, I don't know, education and coaching. No. You can figure that out from the services list. That's fine. It's what Holland said. It is our guiding light when it's like, no. What type of, why do we do that? Is this leading us to more flourishing? And if not, we need to let it go. Right. Is this providing our clients with creative quality, right? Like everything. It is exactly how we purchase software. It is exactly how we do things. That one's good. It's really good. And it's interesting because we didn't look at it before we started this. We were outside. It was gorgeous yesterday. And we just started writing down values. I think we said, let's do 10-ish each. We know the list well enough, but we did bring it up on one of our phones and we referenced it a little bit. And how did it feel to you to write down 10 business values? Did they come more easily, less easily? Yeah.
I think the first thing I found myself feeling was, wow, these are so similar to my values.
Yeah.
That was almost exactly what I was sitting there and I was like, well, shit, they can't be the same. Like they can't be the exact same because I had just done it again. And so I was like, dang it. Because I was having to like get creative with it. But I think I ended up landing on values that I would 100% say land within my greater pool of values as well. But I found myself struggling to think of it in a business way, less of a personal way, and thinking, okay, so how do we conduct ourselves and getting deeper into what do we do? How do we consider things? What do we put things through processes. Like I kind of think of it like a sieve. Like what is our sieve?
Yeah.
But I enjoyed it a lot. I was trying to find words that I felt like embodied multiple words because I kept coming up with phrases. So I was just pulling on the thesaurus, word hippo, if you've ever used that.
Yeah.
What about you? How did it feel for you?
Good. It's interesting. Every year we're in business, I think it's like, click, click. Yeah, the sieve, or it's like something else falls into place, like a transformer I think I usually look back. What was hardest starting was like, oh, I don't know, right? But now I have, okay, I want more of this, right? So I found myself saying things like thoughtfulness, ease, joy, and I kept thinking of things that I want to remain. I think that's embedded in our mission statement last year that you and I have been so committed to as we have grown this year, growing in a way that absolutely assures that each client gets the same quality experience as did the OG clients who had all our time and attention.
Yes.
And what does that look like? What ways can we simplify back-end processes so that the hour I spend in session is as juicy as the hour I spent in session 2 years ago when I didn't have the back mind clutter, right? So that was also helpful. That was a guiding light of like not more and not less.
Right.
Yeah.
Same, but like, oh gosh, stronger.
Yeah. Yeah.
Emphasis.
Assured. Yeah.
Yes.
And so those were things that kept coming up to my
Right.
mind was, I think I would like clarity at some point, right? I know what I want,
Right.
which felt good this year.
Yes.
It did. And sure, is it connected to my personal? I'm sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. For business, it's run by two people.
They're pretty much the
We
same.
get to. Yeah. When I ran an organization where we had 30 staff, it was a different type of input, and people would think of it was so fun because when something becomes, and it was a nonprofit, so it's meant for the greater good of the community, it's a different angle.
Yes.
This is run by us.
I kept thinking too of like, what do our clients need?
Yeah. Same. Same.
Especially now this year, because for me, last year we did this in August. I came on as an employee in May of 2023, but I was still so getting to know our clients. Yeah. I had moved here in July. I had literally been here for like 2 weeks when we went on this retreat last year.
We were giggling we knew each other like soul-wise.
Yes.
But not like, this one felt so much, I know we hardly did anything, but we know each other so well this year. I was just giggling at like things we didn't know about each other last year. Yeah. And like I felt so much more like protective of all of these things. And this year I knew like, oh, Helen needs to nap now. Like, that's fine. You just let her nap. Fine. You don't need to control her every moment. Let her nap.
Yeah. It was so much easier for me to kind of feel like I had a pulse on the company and on the clients. I feel like I know our clients because I get to communicate with them. Whereas last year it was so new to me to even be emailing them. I remember almost wanting you to look at every email because I was like, I don't know. Like I was just so new.
Yeah.
And so this year I feel like I have the knowledge and I have the ability to truly know what the values should be. So I felt so much more connected to the value statement, which was really fun.
And that makes perfect sense because August of last year, right? I was a year and a half in or whatever. And that makes so much sense.
Right.
It's beautiful.
It is.
So what we did is put our 20 collective values on a big sheet.
Sticky notes.
And it was a lot. Then we took them and we tried to combine like with like, things that seemed to have the same heart. Then we started to find themes. Then we started to think of, okay, wait, this is a client result that we want. This is a very us, self-centered thing. We don't say that badly. So then we kept like narrowing till we wrote a new mission statement.
She's lengthy.
She's so lengthy. She is girthy and lengthy.
And definitely a run-on sentence.
So much. So brace yourself.
Brace yourself. type it too.
Let us say we are literally in real time going to share with you what we end up making our mission statement. This was literally the draft that we came up with based upon the things that kept bubbling to the surface.
Right.
This is not staying.
No, we're probably going to combine the two. So here is what we landed on yesterday morning after a few cups of coffee. Sex Ed for You is committed to purposeful authenticity and courageous curiosity, guided by holistic scholarship and intuition, so that our clients and community may transform through clear communication, accessible resources, and thoughtful education and embodied coaching. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. Right away, I want to cut out the descriptive words before the first two things.
Authenticity and curiosity rather than purposeful.
Yeah. So cut those. And then I would also cut the something communication, clear communication.
Clear communication.
I don't think that's necessary. We should just do that. So if you took out clear communication, you took out those other two words. Can you read it again?
Try it again. Okay. Sex Ed for You is committed to authenticity and curiosity, guided by holistic scholarship and intuition, so that our clients and community may transform through communication, resources, and thoughtful education and embodied coaching.
I think it can just be resources. Maybe it doesn't even need to be that. Strike those two too. I know what we were saying was this podcast and everything on the website.
Accessible.
And yeah, it's so important to us to have accessible things. Y'all, this podcast is so important. Our Instagram is so important. We deeply believe that we all should have had this type of education as young people. And we are fully aware that not everyone can afford individual work or partnered work at certain times in their lives. And so this is so important to us. So we always try to weave it in, but this is education. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
So we're taking out both accessible and resources, or just accessible?
Oh, what if we just do accessible education? Could that be?
Ooh, accessible and thoughtful.
Oh, we can take out thoughtful.
But you liked thoughtful so
I did.
much.
Thoughtful was one.
You were like, that's the one.
I feel so drawn to
Accessible.
thoughtful these days.
What if we take out...
Wait, and we never... Safety didn't make it in anywhere, did we?
Safety didn't make it in.
Y'all, when we ask folks to share about their work with Sex Ed for You, which is the favorites, what we do with all graduates, I would say 9 out of 10 people talk about the safety.
Oh, yes.
Makes my heart, like literally, I can feel my heart be like, because it is such a piece of our ethic, but it never makes it on the mission
Well, we
statement.
wrapped it into thoughtful. We said safety,
I know,
and community and alignment.
And you know what? Maybe it's because of this. In school, they would say all the time, you cannot guarantee safety for someone.
That is true.
That is, safety is earned through trustworthy behavior. You know, they would say, like, don't say this is a safe space. Say this is a brave space. And then you work your ass off to make it safe, but we can't control that. So maybe it's okay. That was a real thought process.
Yeah, out loud.
Sorry.
We're literally, I don't know if you can see
we are marking.
this.
Can you see?
I'm writing things. I think we should take out accessible, even though I love accessible. I think it's a great word. And it's really important to me, just because I feel like so much of this knowledge is gatekept between the academic community and even in our community, which is so frustrating. We've run into that multiple times where we're like, even we are kept out of many spaces.
Yes.
We are not welcome in many academic spaces because of stupid reasons. I don't even know what the reasons are, to be honest.
One of them is I don't have a 4-year degree.
Yes, that is true.
I try to be really honest with that. It's funny. I was watching an old Queer Eye the other day.
Oh, I love Queer Eye.
I do too. And Bobby dropped out of high school because of things, right? And he always just gives me so much hope because no one doubts Bobby's ability to design spaces.
Exactly.
No one's like, oh, you haven't studied. Oh, you don't know. And yet, so anyway, some of those are gatekeeping reasons.
Right.
And I've talked to many colleagues about this. And anyway, we still have old, antiquated systems that like to keep us in school forever and ever. Amen.
But that's why we're so passionate about making the things that we do have access to accessible to y'all.
Like so deeply.
Yes.
It is a part of our core ethic, which it's so much a part of our core ethic that I don't know if it necessarily needs to be in our mission statement.
Yes.
Right? Which is what so many of my clients get to. Like,
Right.
oh, no, this is just me. Like, I'm just going to be doing that.
Right.
My mission statement is what I'm striving for.
Yeah.
This isn't necessarily how. We could add a how. We do this on that page that includes our mission statement.
Yes.
This is, the juicy stuff.
All right.
Okay. So read this version. There's quite a strong possibility we're going to go back to the OG one.
There's quite a strong possibility.
And we're just fluked
because I also feel like there's too many ands, but
I know.
they're
It's
kind
still
of
such
necessary.
a run-on. Okay.
Okay. Sex Ed for You is committed to authenticity, curiosity. No. Sex Ed for You is committed to authenticity and curiosity, guided by holistic scholarship and intuition so that our clients and community may transform through communication, thoughtful education, and embodied coaching.
I got stuck back up on, is it necessary to have the
Which one?
holistic scholarship?
I like
intuition?
holistic scholarship.
I love holistic scholarship because, listen, we always be learning.
I feel like that is part of like so much of what we do, though.
I do too. And it's why I made it up there, because I was like, I want our humans to know how passionate you and I are about learning new things.
Yes. And intuition was so important because we are not solely guided by the research of those who are higher than thou. We are deeply guided by, does this feel right? I mean, we ask ourselves that question probably 5 times a day.
All the time.
All the time. It is the number one question we ask.
We've been implementing a new software and we keep stopping and being like, how's this feeling in your body? Do we need to pause? Do we need to consider another software as we are like actively spending hours and hours in it? And I was like, hey.
It is.
Okay, so yeah, okay.
What if we take some words from our new draft and add them to our original? Because I would actually think we could take out creative in this original. It says committed to courageous flourishing so that our greater community is transformed through creative, consistent, and quality education. I do agree that it's creative, but I don't think it's necessarily our top value anymore.
I don't think consistent needs to necessarily be there.
Okay.
I think they were so important to us because we love our commitment to innovation.
Yeah.
And we love our commitment to consistency.
Yes. But now they're just so intrinsic.
It's that thing that somebody said is excellent. Yeah, because it's so important. Well, I just remembered that that other colleague just said, yeah, like this is excellent. Yeah, it's important to us. Okay.
I love the word flourishing. We were obsessed with the word flourishing for like a full year.
So obsessed.
Yeah, we have bags with it on there.
You want a bag? Click below.
We have lots.
They're available.
I like the word authenticity more than I like the word flourishing now.
Okay.
Or courageous.
Okay.
Could replace either.
Where is flourishing?
We're committed to courageous flourishing.
Courageous authenticity.
So this is us centered.
Oh.
I almost
What
think.
if it's courageous authenticity?
Yeah.
And holistic scholarship.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. And holistic scholarship. It's bothering me that my handwriting doesn't look as good as it did in this. Hee. Okay. Sex Ed for You is committed to courageous authenticity and holistic scholarship so that our greater community is transformed through blank blank and quality education.
And coaching.
And coaching. Did you all know Lauren is getting embodied coaching certified?
Do you know that? By the end of October.
Whoop, whoop.
I will be a certified...
I don't know.
Embodied intimacy and relationship coach.
Nice.
I was like, it's got a name.
EIRC.
It does. That's what they always, that's literally what I went through. Is in our emails, it always says EIRC.
Oh my gosh, wow. I'm so glad that I nailed that.
Constantly. I'll be a certified EIRC It's been beautiful. If you've been like, wait, I don't want to work with a sexuality educator, but I want to work with a coach.
Great. We're both.
You should go to sexedforyou.com/free consult.
Okay. May transform.
Okay,
through.
wait. What were on the second half of our so that what, and the
So
new one,
that-
and the new one.
The new one. So that our clients and community may transform through clear communication, accessible resources, and thoughtful education and embodied coaching. I like thoughtful instead of quality because I feel like those are the same, yeah?
Yeah, well then what if we just say thoughtful education and embodied coaching? What if we do take those from the top?
Right. Thoughtful. Do you want to leave in clear communication and accessible resource? I don't think we need those. So just...
I think we're going to keep doing that.
Yeah, that always. Sex Ed for You is committed to courageous authenticity and holistic scholarship so that our greater community is transformed through thoughtful education and coaching.
Embodied coaching.
And embodied coaching. Whoopsies.
Because I think this is not like, I don't know, a past client emailed me the other day, shout out, and said, your coach, what I did with you is not what this other life coach is doing with me. And I was like, oh, because y'all, I've never taken a life coach certificate. I don't know what they do.
I have no clue.
No. And they said, where did you like get your model?
Yeah, I was like, Lauren's head.
This is where it comes from. And I love it. Like that's just intrinsic. That is Sex Ed for You's model that I'm sure at some point we will, I don't know, trademark, come up with, like grow or not. But it's like different. My recipe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
It has nothing to do. It didn't learn it through some life coach program.
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay. I think that's really, I like that. I do want to add our clients and greater community because that makes me think.
That makes it seem more seem more accessible. It is. That speaks to the accessibility.
It separates our clients from what we also do, podcast listeners, to Instagram followers, to email lists, to the people who buy courses on Beducated.
That's so true. Yeah, that's coming.
It's already here. Is it not?
Is it?
I'm pretty sure it is.
I think you just leaked something really special. I don't think it's up yet.
I don't know what I'm talking about. Don't look at me.
If you made it to this point, you just got a special secret.
Okay.
Okay, want to read it one last time, and then I think we did it.
Sex Ed for You is committed to courageous authenticity and holistic scholarship so that our clients and greater community are transformed through thoughtful education and embodied coaching.
Yeah.
Almost had a
Is it a little verbose? Sure.
Always going to be.
I don't care.
We are some wordy ladies.
Welcome to Sex Ed for You with Lauren and Holland, where research meets reality.
I mean, the length of our podcast name solely. It took us so long to land on that.
We started out the retreat celebrating everything that we had wanted to do in 2023 to 2024, and we were blown away because we did it all except host a retreat. We haven't done that yet. And we giggled at the thought that we thought we were going to do that.
Yeah, that's funny.
We want to do that. You all ask us for that all the time. I'm sure it will happen. Retreats are very expensive to host, not only in the hours that the teams use on the back end, but then in the cost that others bear. And that is just tricky for me. It might be that we do something someday where it's here in our Central Virginia area and you all can choose housing, right? Like you could share with somebody and get an Airbnb, or you could go to a hotel and we let you choose the price point because it just doesn't feel right with me.
Yeah.
It's like...
It would be too expensive for us to, like the price tag would be too high for people to attend and for us to feel comfortable.
In order for it to be worth my time and resources and Holland's time and resources, we believe in flourishing, y'all. It got struck from the thing, but it's important, and I'm sure there will be a retreat at some time.
Yeah.
It's not yet.
No.
It's not yet, because that's a lot of work.
It's just prioritization. I think it was so cool, though, that we got...
What was the one other thing? There was like one other thing that we didn't do.
I don't know.
I haven't written my book yet. That's all.
Right, yeah.
No, but it was like something else like that.
It was... Go to a conference, speak at a conference, which don't worry, we tried.
Shout out,
That's
y'all.
part of the gatekeeping.
I would love to be a presenter at a conference. Let's manifest it. We submitted me
At least
to like 7, 10.
Closer to 10.
So many. Anyway.
Put our heart and soul into those suckers.
And I love speaking, but nope.
It's because we don't have the
universe.
connections.
Yes, it is because of the connections, but God got us universe is like, no, not yet. And I'm a generator and meant to respond. And I've told Holland from the beginning that I think my work is to continue doing this and continue to talk on this and continue to serve my clients. And that at some point someone is going to say, Lauren, will you come speak at this conference? But it does make me giggle because it's constantly a goal of mine. But I don't think it's a goal that I'm necessarily supposed to make happen.
Yeah. It's like we're not in charge of it.
No.
Like we're just kind of like, hey.
We'll put it out to y'all. But yeah, those were the only two. Everything else we did and above and beyond. And we do still need to do those, like at some point. Because that was really fun to look back and see. Yes. And yeah.
How much we have done. We have done so many things. And I think, like I said yesterday, it's been so easy to get caught up in, well, okay, that's done. Time to move on. Yeah. Like just keep going. Like there's so much that we want to accomplish and strive for truly in a healthy way. But it's so easy to not look back on where we came from. I think it's almost conceptual to me. And then I look back at those goals that we set and I was like, holy crap, I forgot there was a time we didn't have these things.
Right. And so many of these things, y'all, that we reference, you don't even see because they're back-end processes and we love them, but you don't see them. And yeah.
It was making, automated emails and getting merch live and having an intern and creating a journal prompts book. All of these things that were big milestones for us, truly.
Lots of work.
But yeah, huge.
A favorite products page. Now we even have a whole podcast about it. The podcast was like what was funny is we looked at goals were develop a mission for the podcast and this, that. We hadn't even said launch the podcast. The podcast launch went onto the bedside table, which was the things that we didn't think we'd get to this year. So podcast launch and a blog were both in the bedside table, and they're both things that Holland has made happen. Just really cool.
So cool.
Really, really cool. Intern, what was it? There were other things. They're like, wow. Yeah. A CRM, client management software and stuff. And that has been... yeah, our journey. It's been our journey. And,
also known as a bane of our existence.
Yeah, it is so important to us, y'all, that our back-end systems hum like that. Because I truly think it matters.
It does.
I do. So, wonderful.
Wow.
We did it on camera.
We did. I really hope that this shows you that A, values are deeply important to how you conduct yourself throughout your daily life, and B, that even though we literally teach values, it's not easy peasy slice of pie. It is truly work, and it's fun to do in collaboration. And I hope that you not only enjoy it, but see the value that it can hold in your life.
Thanks for coming to this episode of Sex Ed for You with Lauren and Holland, where research meets reality. Please remember, this and everything we share are opinions. It is paramount to us that you understand that you have a right to informed decision making and that you are free to disagree with us. Take what you like, leave the rest. You have a right to self-determination. Huge for what we do. We want to freely share our opinions, and we encourage you to do the same. If you ever disagree with something we speak of on here or have some research to back up a different point of view, please send it to us. You can email admin@sexedforyou.com. Feel free to follow us on Instagram. You can go to sex_ed_for_you. That was actually one of the things that we had written on a thing was find get Meta to give us Sex Ed for You, because nobody's using it.
Literally.
It's not as easy as buying a website. That's easier. We would love it if you subscribed and followed and did all that good stuff and shared. It really makes a difference. We're so glad you're here. Anything else in closing?
No. Go read the blog.
Go read the vlog. If you're confused, if you're like, this is too much, go to sexedforyou.com/free consult, and you can request a free consult with me, and we can talk about your goals and objectives, and I can I can meet with you and then tell you if I think we'll be a good fit or refer you out to a different colleague. Thanks for being here today, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
Bye.
Bye.